Fox 40 News at 6 o'clock starts right now.
We need to decide on how many times we can beat Frank Gore's head. We need to decide how many times we can bull rush and we can put Vernon Davis's ankles over the pile.
You heard it for yourself. 49ers players specifically targeted. So who's doing the talking? That's former New Orleans Saints defensive coordinator Greg Williams, who's currently suspended. Mark Dempsey's live in the sports office. Mark, this may permanently end this coach's career, right?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, Sincere, I do believe that Greg Williams will be done coaching in the NFL. The audio tape that was released today, pretty much as graphic as you can imagine. Now, the tape, Williams, it's him talking to his team right before the Saints played the 49ers. Remember that playoff game back in January? Williams actually encouraging his players on the defensive side of the football to intentionally injure players on the 49ers. Take a listen.
We've got to do everything in the world to make sure we kill Frank Gore's head. We want him running sideways. We want his head sideways. They're going to be shocked with our speed. They're going to be shocked with our strip. We can kick field goals, be the best defense in that stadium. Remember the walkaways, and remember, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes, we'll get on that bus, right back to that airport, and get ready for the next one. Respect comes from fear. This is how you get respect in this league.
I should at least remind everyone that Greg Williams, as the defensive coordinator, has been suspended indefinitely by the league. He's going to miss at least next season, and you can only imagine Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, with these tapes. He had knowledge of these tapes and these recording, or this particular recording. This is not going to sit well. Don't forget, we'll let everybody know that the full audio version of this, we're going to try to get that up on our website a little bit later on. That's fox40.com.
And Mark, you know, we knew this had happened. We know football is a rough and tumble game, obviously a lot of hard contact, but this audio is still stunning to hear.
Yeah, you talk to a lot of players. I've listened to a lot of players, certainly around the league at this point right now. A lot of them are surprised. There's a couple of clips in there. You talk about going for the head. We will hear tonight at 10 o'clock about another audio clip talking about going after the ACL, which of course is in the knee. Specific players targeted, specific injuries, parts of the body. That stuff you just don't hear in pregame speeches. And Greg Williams has a history of this, and I think the NFL is certainly going to say they're done with him.
Yes, seems to be pulling the plug on that. Thank you, Mark.
Well, Sincere, some developing news out of Roseville to tell you about tonight. That's where cops have arrested a mom in the death of her 2-year-old daughter. Take a look at the video of the case that I'm talking about here. Mom's name is Denise Wilder, and she was booked on charges of child of endangerment and suspicion of homicide. Well, after police found McKinley Wilder, her little girl, 2-year-old, dead in this Roseville home, police say that Denise Wilder was drunk at the time as well. Her older daughter, a 5-year-old, was also in that house. Well, she was taken to a hospital, but later released to some family members that same night. Officials haven't released a cause of death for McKinley, the 2-year-old, quite yet. They say that they're waiting the results of toxicology tests. We'll keep on that.
Well, just into the newsroom at 6, Manteca police say someone posing as a cop raped a woman. According to the victim, the suspect made her believe he was with law enforcement. He asked her to follow him, and she did. Then she says she was assaulted. The guy was driving a gray mid-sized car with chrome rims and tinted windows. Keep on the lookout for that. Well, tonight, tragedy in the skies over Lodi, where a skydiver dies. Kimberly Rankin joins us live now from Macampo with what witnesses saw, and it must have been traumatic, Kimberly.
It was very traumatic for a lot of people who knew him, because really nobody knows exactly what went wrong. What we do know is that he was supposed to land about a mile that way, but instead he ended up about 20 rows back over here, and he didn't make it.
We do have to have emergency procedures, and we try to train for that, and we practice it all the time, but we just can't understand what happened this time. Right? In other words, he either forgot or he had a heart attack or something. We're just speculating.
What we do know for sure is that the jumper had some sort of problem. Friends tell us he was around 70 years old, and he was an experienced jumper with thousands of jumps under his belt.
Oh, he loved it because that's his sport. I mean, he could have quit already a long time ago, but he keeps doing it just to keep young.
Korzukin, who has jumped with a skydiver for over 20 years, says he is very sad to lose such a good friend. But today, he isn't canceling his jump because that wouldn't honor his friend. and every jumper knows the risks.
It's part of the sport. We have to take that into consideration. And, I mean, I had a couple of malfunctions, and you do the right thing, it works. Sometimes it doesn't. If you're out of luck, I mean, it's your time, and that's the way we look at it.
Someone jumping with a skydiver says he saw the parachute open fully, but that does not rule out the possibility that there was a problem with the chute. The San Joaquin Sheriff's Department is conducting what's called a coroner's investigation. Also, the FAA is doing their own investigation. Those results won't be released for some time, but we will pass them along as soon as we get them.
Alrighty, any scenarios that any of the experts have been sharing with you, Kim, about, what may have happened aside from a medical issue?
No, and we're not even really sure for 100% that there was a medical issue. All we know is that somebody saw him jump out of the plane. They saw his parachute fully open, but other than that, they don't know because most of the jumpers landed a mile away from where he landed. So they really aren't quite sure yet. We did have one guy out there who was talking to the Sheriff's Department explaining how the parachute works, but that's all we really know is that no one landed near him and that this is still under investigation.
Alrighty, a lot of questions still to be answered. Thank you, Kim. Well, new for you at 6 tonight, a court hearing in Roseville's only murder of 2011. Today, both Christopher Northam Jr. and Avril Easley pleaded not guilty. They're each charged in the murder of Christopher Northam Sr., the founder of SkimX, an extreme sport. He was found dead in his Roseville office last May. Also new at 6, students at Santa Monica College are marching in protest today after police pepper sprayed a group of them Tuesday night. Today's march comes even though the chancellor of the community college system is putting a scheduled tuition increase on hold. He says the two-tiered fee plan may violate education codes and needs to be reviewed to determine if it's legal. Santa Monica College's president is defending the campus police decision to use pepper spray against the crowd of students Tuesday night.
And an update now to the story that's been leading all of our newscasts here at Fox 40 all week long. I'm talking about the worst school shooting in California history. And the monitor behind me right here, you're taking a look at some of the people who were victims this week in that shooting at Oikos University. Mind you, this could turn into a death penalty case, and we knew that this was going to happen, but developments in this case in terms of who this guy is and why he allegedly did what he did, we're getting updates on that literally by the hour. This is what we know so far. The suspect, one go, is being held without bail, accused of shooting 10 people. 7 died. We're now finding out that he left that school voluntarily last year. We previously thought that he was expelled. That's not the case. Apparently, he wanted his tuition refunded when he left, and he was pretty upset that he didn't get his money back. The Alameda County District Attorney is saying they think, at this point anyway, that's why he returned to that campus on Monday, late Monday morning, and started shooting. As I mentioned, 7 people died, 10 total were shot. 3 others that did survive, they are all out of the hospital. That's very good news, and Go is due back in court sometime at the end of the month. We'll keep on it.
All right, Eric. Well, I have to tell you that when we first heard this next story, we were shocked. A teenage rape victim is jailed so that she'll testify against the man who allegedly assaulted her. We sent Lonnie Wong to find out if this had been done before and if it's really necessary. He joins us now live from the newsroom. Lonnie, what did you find out? It just doesn't seem to add up.
Well, Sinceri, it's not unheard of to jail a witness to make sure they show up to testify at a trial, but it is highly unusual to put a juvenile rape victim in custody.
It's something that we don't like to do.
But Assistant DA Al Locher says a suspected rapist named Frank Rackley, who's in jail on $1 million bail, will rape again unless one of his victims testifies. The 17-year-old girl is in juvenile hall to make sure she isn't a no-show at Rackley's trial. The ward of the county already broke out of the children's receiving home instead of testifying at a preliminary hearing. Legal experts say rape victims under the law get special consideration, but that citizens also need to be protected.
Sometimes the only way to protect the public at large is to insist that a crime victim testify.
But the girl's attorney says rape victims have the legal right not to testify, and placing her in juvenile hall is bad.
By putting the victim of the rape in custody, it just sends a message out to other victims that don't report your rape because you'll be thrown in jail.
Now, there is a hearing tomorrow on whether or not the girl should remain in custody, and her attorney will argue that the state law known as Margie's Law prevents rape victims from being forced to testify.
Quite a paradox there, an interesting comment there from the lawyer, because reporting rape is such an issue, and now a situation like this just inspiring fear, I'm sure.
Yeah, and of course from the district attorney's side, they want to make sure that this guy doesn't get out and rape some more people.
All righty, well, we know that you will stay on it. Thank you, Lonnie. Well, when it comes to the Kings' new arena, there could be a royal rift. The Kings' attorney just filed more than 50 requests for public records from the city, looking for transcripts, emails, and notes about this arena deal. It might not mean anything on its own, but it doesn't look like a good sign for the two sides that are supposed to be just coming together on this finally. Even NBA Commissioner David Stern says, quote, "I'm more hopeful than confident," unquote, about the deal. Next week, the NBA Board of Governors meets in New York. We know they'll talk about this arena deal, so that's why we're sending our Mark Dembski there. He'll give us live updates next Thursday and Friday.
Talk about paper pushers, right? You've heard that term before. This is going to be a great example of that. AEG is the company that's going to be running potentially our arena here in Sacramento. Well, right now they're building, in the process, sort of pre-building process of building a new arena in Los Angeles that could potentially house a pro football team. Well, they released an environmental impact report on that arena that they're building down in Los Angeles. This gives you an idea of how long that environmental impact report is. We're talking about 10,000 pages. This is 10,000 pages that you're looking at right here. 20 of these, 500 pages per stack. And this is something that very well could be coming to Sacramento as well, because of course we're in the process, keep your fingers crossed, of building a new arena here. The pre-development work that's going on here in Sacramento includes an environmental review, just like the one that's happening right now in LA, these 10,000 pages. That means a stack like this could be showing up at our front door in the next couple of months. Again, that is, cross your fingers if we do get our new Kings Arena.
I gotta land pretty quick. My gas gauge goes nothing.
Her husband, the pilot, passed out mid-flight, so this 80-year-old woman grabs the controls and the radio. We've got the air traffic control tapes. And we've been following this boy's story for months. A Galt boy born with webbed hands and feet. Today, baby Mason underwent surgery. See the results next.